I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about Khalil Rountree says he has no plans to get his first UFC takedown against Alex Pereira. I am not a wrestler. Khalil Rountree is riding an 5-fight win streak in the UFC, earning him a title shot against undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. 4 of those wins came via a knockout for Khalil Rountree. Khalil Rountree explains why he won't grapple against Alex Pereira at UFC 307. Khalil Rountree discussed his next fight on the Believe You Me podcast hosted by Michael Bisping recently. Despite Israel Adesanya having, I would say, some success on the ground against Alex Pereira, Khalil Rountree says he will rely on his striking to get the victory. This is what Khalil Rountree says. It doesn't make sense. I am not a wrestler. Like, yes, I am a mixed martial artist. I'm able to do a lot of, different things. My grappling's good, my wrestling's decent, but that's just not me. It's not my instinct, And so, like, why would I put myself in, quote, harm's way to try to secure this victory when that's just not me? When Bisbee asks how would Khalil Rountree react if his coaches suggested him to wrestle against Pereira, here's what Rountree had to say. If my coach were telling me, hey, this is the way, I'll be like, man, then like, who are you coaching? Wow. Because this has never been the game plan. Why at the height of my fighting career would we switch everything we've done, what I mean, to try to secure a victory? Like, where's your belief in what I do? Okay. I think that's the entire article there. Okay, that's interesting. I want to preface this by saying I am a MMA casual, so I can't follow every single thing that goes on in this, but I just have a few thoughts. When I first got into MMA, just real quick, we will always have like one fighter who was, a great wrestling base, and they would always tell their opponent, hey, how are you going to do with my wrestling? How are you going to do with my wrestling? They probably had a great wrestling career in college, and their opponent would say, like, listen, I respect your wrestling, but this is mixed martial arts. How are you going to deal with the kicks? How are you going to deal with if someone trips you and throws you on your back? How are you going to deal with, the striking? It's not just wrestling, right? So I'm just a little bit surprised that Khalil Rountree respectfully may not have any takedowns in his career, but, when you're going for the championship, my game plan would be a little bit more of not letting my opponent know what I was going to do, right? Like, I would think it would make more sense, like, hey, you don't have any takedowns in your UFC career. Why not tell Pereira, like, hey, maybe this will be my first fight where I get a takedown in this fight where you've seen Jan Blachowicz had some success versus Alex Pereira in the wrestling game, took Alex Pereira down. Yuri Prochazka took Alex Pereira down. Now, Khalil Rountree obviously is not a wrestler. He's probably not going to get much takedowns, but it's not a bad idea. I think it's a better idea to put that in your opponent's mind instead of saying, like, hey, let's just have this like bros agreement where we're just going to stand in the middle of the ring and just throw punches and kicks and stuff like that. So, just a little bit surprising. Khalil Rountree lost to Ian Cutelaba by takedown. He got taken down. Ian Cutelaba took Khalil Rountree down in, I think, the first round, like 2 or 3 times. Johnny Walker knocked out Khalil Rountree in that plum clinch, caught him with an elbow. So even if you're not a wrestler, when you go out there and you tell your opponent, hey, I'm not a wrestler, I'm just gonna, stand here and, strike with you, your opponent may not want to agree to them. Your opponent may be like, well, that's cool, right? You're not a wrestler, but hey, in this fight, you may have to deal with some wrestling. You may have to deal with the clinch. You may have to deal with, a takedown. Maybe I'll take you down because I saw Cutelaba take you down. Maybe I'll throw you in that plum clinch that you had so much of a problem against with Johnny Walker. I don't understand why in a championship fight, this isn't, some type of just, trying to get back into contention. Why in a championship fight would you give away your game plan? That is just a little bit surprising. Like I said, even if that's your game plan, that does not mean your opponent, Ian Cutelaba, didn't agree to the no takedown rule and took him down and just beat him up. And, Khalil Rountree lost that fight in the first round. Johnny Walker got Khalil Rountree in that plum clinch, right? Caught him with an elbow, knocked him out. So just because Khalil Rountree doesn't want to try for his first takedown versus Alex Pereira does not mean Alex Pereira is going to be playing by the same rules. So if I'm Khalil Rountree, I'm working on takedown defense. I'm working on trying to get a takedown in that. And also, I'm just not telling Alex Pereira, even if you've never had a takedown, I'm not going to go out there and say, well, I've never had a takedown. Don't worry, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not going to try to take you down. If someone asks me if I've had a takedown, why I've never had a takedown, will I try a takedown versus Alex Pereira? I would say, yeah, maybe, right? We'll see. Right, I think it is more beneficial to throw that out there. Now, obviously, even putting that out there does not mean Alex Pereira is not going to work on his takedown defense and his takedown offense. So I don't really see any benefit to Khalil Rountree coming out a month before the biggest fight of his life and basically giving away the fight, right? Just basically giving it away. Like I said, when I first got into MMA, it was always everybody would be like, oh, wrestling's the best base. Wrestling. You have to be a wrestler. You got to be a wrestler. Wrestling. And, they would always say, how you going to do my wrestling? And the obvious answer was, like, this is a mixed martial arts fight. It's not a wrestling fight, right? So, but let me know your opinion of this story because, like I said, I am an MMA casual, so what the hell do I know? I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about Khalil Rountree says he has no plans to try to get his first takedown versus UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira at UFC 307. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.